Magic Johnson, also very critical, staying in LA. His parting words of a former guard, D'Angelo Russell, in the #2 pick. He said he has the talent to be an all-star, but he needs a leader and someone that players want to play with. Russell was asked about those comments in his introductory press conference in Brooklyn, and Russell said, quote, "I can't really control that. What they say, I'm gone, so it's in the past. I'm here now. It's irrelevant, honestly." Do you like that out of Russell, Will?
No, because it's not true. I just have an affinity for the truth. I just don't like lies, and or for that matter, just simply being wrong. I like being right. That's why I do it so often. But anybody that listened to the show yesterday might have heard my final take. I know you did, John, and that is this, that I think Magic Johnson's comments were harsh, but they were truthful. The truth hurts. That D'Angelo wasn't a leader on that team. That D'Angelo apparently wasn't a guy that a lot of guys wanted to play with. And we can point to some reasons that were, at the very least, immature mistakes that were accountable for that fact.
Right.
And he wasn't the guy that made everyone around him better, at least not as compared to the guy that Magic was talking about, Lonzo Ball. So the truth hurts. And I appreciate it, even though it's the truth. I said this yesterday, John. I didn't like it at all when Pete Carroll said the reason he didn't sign Colin Kaepernick is because Colin Kaepernick's of starter quality. Therefore, he can't be my backup. That's just such nonsense. You don't want a starter quality as your backup when you can get it? No. There are reasons not to sign Colin Kaepernick. That's not one of them.
Right.
So I don't like lies. I like the truth. Now, on D'Angelo's part, is it all irrelevant? No. No, it's not irrelevant. If it's true, D'Angelo, they should be very relevant to you. They should be the springboard for your future, for you getting better, for you correcting mistakes. It's anything but irrelevant. If it's irrelevant, D'Angelo hasn't learned a lesson.
Well, okay. I think it's important for D'Angelo to say that. I think it was important that the way he said it was right. He said, well, they're going to say what they're going to say. I'm already gone. What Magic says now is irrelevant because he doesn't have to listen to it. It may be the fuel he needs. I can guarantee you when the Brooklyn Nets play against the Los Angeles Lakers, this kid is going to ball out.
It'll be relevant.
He is going to ball out, and that's what you do. And Magic loves that. Magic loves that he can get these kids to ball out, that he's giving them future, giving them fire. When he said irrelevant, he just has to think about it. He has a lot of growing up to do. He knows that. But now being in Brooklyn, when his team is not going to be the greatest team he can possibly play on, he's coming from a losing team, going to another one, he has to change his game.
See, I think we're hearing different things. When you hear him say it's irrelevant, what I think I hear you saying is he's moved on. That he needs to turn the page, he needs a new chapter, and he needs to be a new player.
Right.
But what I'm worried I hear there is that you haven't moved on. That if it's irrelevant, if those comments don't matter, then you haven't learned your lesson. What I would rather hear from D'Angelo is this. I hear Magic. Magic's one of the greats of all time. Magic knows something he's talking about. He certainly knows about leadership. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm going to be better as a Brooklyn Net than I was as a Los Angeles Laker. My mistakes are going to make me a better player going forward.
Right.
And watch me.
Well, see,
that's what I would say.
Will,
watch
you're
what happens
33 years
next.
old. Of course, being at 33 years old, you would say that. His kid is barely 17.
I'm not 33.
I'm just joking. But you know what I'm saying? This kid, when you run into that situation, you are mature. You think about it at that time. You also have to understand he has to upend his whole life, moved all the way to a new coast, and he has to be there holding up a jersey around people that said, we want you, but really they took him because they could, and he has to find his way again. He doesn't have the words. He doesn't have, I would say, the vocabulary to do what you just did.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a simple, I found the wrong word, but I will say this. All the things I talked about, learning from your mistakes, even the things you talked about, Cassidy, and you, John, is he going to ball when he plays against the Lakers?
Yeah.
Is he going to overperform because this serves as motivation? All I know is those are very, very relevant things.
Yeah.
This is relevant. It's not irrelevant.
It makes you better.
And that's right. That's what helps you move forward, the relevance of these comments.
Right.
Not that they don't matter.
Do you think he has all-star potential
yes.
in Brooklyn?
I really do. I think he, and I was not a fan of what he did, right? And I said it, and I usually don't say anything. I wasn't a fan of it because it wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. He knew a choice he can make. So I think he made bad choices. And I think, the way they played it off on a bad choice, I think since then it went downhill. and I wouldn't want to play with him. If you can't trust him in the locker room mentality, if you think he's a pillow talker, of course you don't want to play with that guy. It happened a bunch of times when guys talk too much. Loose lips sink ships.
What would it take for you to forgive him, though, John? What would it take for you to move on
I've
as a
already
teammate?
forgiven him.
As his teammate. You just said I wouldn't want to play with him.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to hang out with him. I've got to be honest. When that happened on the squad, and the squad was already in the situation was going into, Iggy is that big, and you don't do that.
So how does he show up in that Brooklyn locker room?
Well,
Unwelcomed?
No, he shows up in that locker room and say, "Hey, fellas, here's my cell phone. I don't use it. I'm not hanging out with y'all, and if we do, I'm not filming."
Well, that's the whole question here that we have to leave this with, is can D'Angelo Russell be different than the player he was?
Yeah, he can be.
In the locker room.
What I said, if I was on the Lakers
Yeah.
while that happened, I'd be like, we gotta kick rocks, this kid.
But to do that, John, he's got to learn.
Oh, I hope he did.
And it's going to be hard because he's going to be one of the biggest names in that locker
Right.
room. And
Right.
does that mean he's
I
going
saw
to
the
take on
commercial
a
where he threw the
leadership role?
phone outside. I believe him.
As Drake said last night, there's a lot of guys on the Nets still looking to get that blue check mark on their Instagram. I'm not co-signing, just repeating what Drake said.